Well, it's no surprise that a guy who's written some of country music's best songs would also write a fascinating memoir. Here's the new book from Hall of Fame songwriter Bobby Braddock. A Life on Nashville's Music Row tells the stories behind his iconic hits like He Stopped Lovin' Her Today, DIVORCE, Golden Ring, Time Marches On, and so many more. And Bobby's personal life is just as colorful as his catalog of songs. We are delighted to welcome Bobby Braddock to Talk of the Town. What a pleasure to get to visit with you.
Hi, Meryl. Thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
This has been such a fascinating read, too.
That's quite a commitment to read a book. Thank you for reading it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I couldn't put it down. It kind of reads like a novel, actually.
It's not like listen to my song. That only takes 3 minutes. This takes, you know, I could say quite a commitment.
Well, it was really fun to read, and I think a lot of folks are really going to enjoy it. We got to talk about He Stopped Lovin' Her Today, the song that most people say is the best country song ever written. Yet when you wrote it, you didn't think it was.
Well, I'm going to say this very quickly. A lot of the hits I've had, I wrote by myself. I had a co-writer on this, the guy who wrote Green, Green Grass at Home, the great Curly Putman. I'm going to make sure that he gets mentioned. Well,
and we want to make sure not only do we mention it, but I want to show a picture of him as well, because certainly, yeah, the co-writing partnership is such an important one. Yeah. So you didn't really think when this song was written that it was that great?
No, I felt that I had written better songs, and I felt Curly had written better songs, and I thought it was a good song. Didn't think it was a great. In fact, in my journal, I wrote down D-U-N-N-O, dunno, you know, like.
You don't know if it's going to be great or not.
Yeah, yeah. And then when the George Jones producer, the genius producer, Billy Sherrill, played us the recording of it, I thought, wow, I knew something very special was going on.
Well, George's touch, you know, obviously added a lot to it.
Yeah, it pulled it up several notches, I think. Yeah.
Right. Well, I think it meant as much to his career as it did to your career. It certainly, you know, was a great song for you.
And he didn't want to record it at first. His producer kind of pushed it on him because it was too morbid.
Right. But it ended up being his signature song. And it kept the two of you close throughout his life.
Yeah, he recorded 29 of my songs.
Wow.
Yeah. And for years, every time I'd run into George Jones, he'd say, "When you going to write me another? He stopped loving her today." You know? I said, "Well, you didn't like the first one."
Of course, you did Golden Ring that he and Tammy recorded that was such a huge hit.
Right.
And so many other songs. What's funny to me is that you write a song like He Stopped Lovin' Her Today, and you also wrote the first country rap song that Toby Keith had such a huge hit with.
I Want to Talk About Me.
I Want to Talk About Me. What a funny song.
Well, I was producing Blake Shelton at the time. I don't know if I discovered him. My mutual friend Michael Kosser was his publisher and called him to my attention, so I guess Michael discovered him. But I took Blake up and down Music Row, got him a record deal, and did the first 3 or 4 albums on him and a bunch of hits with him. And he was going around doing this little dirty rap song that he made. I mean, it's so funny hearing him and his Oklahoma white boy drawl doing a rap. And it's so hilarious. I thought, well, I'm going to write a rap song for Blake, and that's where that came from.
Well, and the story in the book about the woman that you spoke to on the phone, you wanted to talk to her about a problem, and all she wanted to talk about were her problems. Did she ever forgive you for writing that song?
Well, her assistant at her job was fired, so it doubled her workload, and that's all she could talk about. So when I wrote the song, I called her up and played it for her, and she made no comment. The next day, she called me back. She said, "That song you sang for me yesterday, did you write that about me?" And I said, "That's right."
Yeah.
Of course, the label was afraid the song wouldn't be good for Blake, so took it to Toby Keith, and he recorded it, and Blake never let them forget that either.
Yeah, no doubt. So many fascinating stories in this book. I think you're really going to enjoy it. The book is called Bobby Braddock, A Life on Nashville's Music Row. You can meet Bobby tonight at Barnes & Noble at Vanderbilt. At 7 o'clock, he's going to perform, answer questions, and sign books, too.
I want people to feel what it was like being on Music Row each decade, the past 50 years, you know.
It is really remarkable, too.
Well, thank you so
much. Yeah, thank you so much for being with us. Oh, I really enjoyed it.